everyone, it's Michelle, and I'm so glad you're joining me today. I thought about what I wanted to present today, excuse me, and I thought about it, and I will tell you that in our book discussion group, which, by the way, anybody can join if you're so inclined, we are studying Michael Rowe's book, From Illusions into Enlightenment. And as human beings, as we grow in consciousness, we often share things that change our perspective. We want to share with people our own experiences about what's going on and how it's going and what we can do to help other people share their thoughts and so that they can grow. And I thought about this. I don't like presenting material as if it's mine. A lot of times I do my own original thoughts. Well, not really, because there's nothing really original. But it's thoughts that I share or things that I have done to grow spiritually. Today I want to read to you out of his book, From Illusion into Enlightenment. And it's from chapter 8. And I felt like this might be a really good time to share this information because I've noticed when we were in our book discussion group, we ran across one section in which a man who had gone to, there was a group of these people, this is what the book is about. Hey Rosie, hey Brianna. It's what is happening is that he was teaching a group of 5 people, and one guy got really agitated, and he says, you know, if I'm irritating you, that's awesome, because you actually have, you're ready to grow. You're ready to explode in growth. And I got to thinking about this, and I thought, you know, he's right. We don't grow unless we manage to get pissed off enough at somebody or something to try to choose differently. And a lot of times we think that it's just okay. We're just getting by. We're in peaceful flow. And we're expanding on that growth. Okay? So knowing this, we also know that we create our every moment. We create our every future. And what that I'm saying is that what we do today is affecting other lives, because as we all know, and we've discussed here before, there is no past life or future life, it's all lives. That was taught to me years and years and years ago, and was drilled into me to such a degree that it was really a hard conception for me to grasp until it clicked one day. If there's no time, then all time is happening simultaneously. Then we can pick from those lives to affect those lives to create the opportunity to grow in peace and harmony instead of by frustration and pain and anguish. So, to get on with it, I have the lights up really bright because, you know, my eyes are getting better every day, but I still need light right now. So in it, he was talking about Pandora's box, and he said, you know, we are universal beings living in a form of denial. Our focus is so material and physical that we have little awareness of our universal nature. And to me, that's really powerful, because we're only thinking that what matters is the moment right now, happening and being in that moment. And we don't realize that all those worries, all those fears that we have, we won't be able to pay our bills. You know, I've been worrying about paying bills since I was 17 and on my own. And I realized I've never been homeless. Why am I worried about paying bills? Why am I worried so drastically that I make myself sick doing it? I know I'm eternal. I know that my energy has had many life experiences. Some I've been very affluent, and some I've been very not so much affluent. It doesn't matter, because I'm not experiencing those moments in this body. I'm experiencing those moments in those bodies. The moment I'm in right now understands that it's a universal mindset and that we don't have to bring fear to our table. We don't have to worry. You know, it's funny how we put such pressure on ourselves that we shouldn't. We make ourselves sick, and I'll give you an example. My son was absolutely a daredevil. When I had an answering machine that I had on there where I was pounding on the window because it was faked, but it was because something had happened that was what prompted the answering machine. And I was like, Lance, get down, get down. I said, oh my God, I gotta go. Call me back later. And then you heard the answering machine beep. Well, it's because my son would climb the 6-foot chain link fence at a year and a half in my backyard. And there was a road back there. I didn't want him getting over the fence, breaking his arm. I had all these thoughts that he was going to damage himself. So from the time he was little, I kept saying, Lance, dead son is not an option. Was I picking it up, or did I create it? Did I open the door to create it, predicated on my daughter's blood disease, where my ex-husband told me, well, if she dies, you can always have another one. I was horrified at that. Nobody says that. Well, he did, but I think in his own way, he was really trying to figure out a way to make me feel better, because our daughter was strapped down to a crib with an IV in her forehead, and they didn't know she had leukemia. And back in those days, leukemia killed. So it was really a struggle for me. I worried about her incessantly, kept her in my bed with me for the next year and a half, so I made sure she didn't bleed to death. I lived in fear that I was going to lose a kid. Well, in walks Lance when he incarnates, and I had created the fear. I had created the situation, and I created the experience, which kind of sucked to be me, huh? But it also worked for his spirit. So understanding that it took me a long time for me to understand that I have this wonderful person in my life for 34 years who was a big pain in my butt, who I loved just totally and completely, as much as human love, not universal love, but human love was. He and his sister were everything to me. And to lose that, I was devastated. And it dawned on me, he loved me enough to share that portion of his life with me. And he also loved me enough when he let go, because he wasn't going to come back normal. So with that being said, I have to understand that he had universal love, whereas I was having a mother's love. So I had mother's grief, and he had lots of universal love to get me through it. So time is kind of irrelevant, because I'm already having another life with him somewhere else. And so then, I'm going to bring up a couple of other points that he says. He says, there are huge cycles of timing in which we have the opportunity to spiritually grow and develop. Those take place over hundreds of millennia, during which time we have thousands of incarnations. As I've hinted at earlier, we are now living at the end of one of those huge cycles. Well, when I teach my metaphysics class, I share with people an age is about 2,100 years, I believe. It's one cycle. It's either 21 or 2,600. I think it's 21. I could be wrong. I'd have to look it up. But in that, we share is the age of Aquarius, the Piscean age. We've had all these ages, and it's actually 12 cycles of those 12, which is approximately 200,000 years. And we have different experiences in each of those. I mean, I'm sure I've incarnated more than once in this millennia. Well, not 20, the 20,000, the 2000s. But from, 1 AD to now, I have had, that's 2,000 years. I have had many lifetimes. And some of them short and sweet. They all taught me something. So we have to understand the concept that if we truly believe in reincarnation, if we truly understand that reincarnation is an aspect of us and that we are eternal beings, just having the experience, then it takes a lot of pressure off of us to show up and be angry because we aren't doing the things that somebody told us to do, or maybe we're angry at somebody for not showing up for us the way we think they should show up. So let's off a whole lot of pressure off the pressure cooker. We can just experience and enjoy. He goes on to say that during this cycle, the majority of incarnating people have locked, I better put my glasses back on, locked into a stagnating subconscious pattern of sameness, and thus have not been growing in consciousness. Well, I sat and thought about that. The majority of people. So there's a lot of people running around thinking that they are stepping up in consciousness, and yet he's saying that they're stagnating. And I thought, what is it that's causing this stagnation? There's a lot of people angry right now. They're angry if you're vaccinated. They're angry if you're not vaccinated. They're angry because you tell them to be vaccinated, and they're angry because you're telling them not to be vaccinated. They're angry because they don't want to wear a mask. They're angry because they do want you to wear a mask. There's anger because of the economic situation, the cultural revolution, the civil rights actions that are going on. There is so much anger, and it blows me away. Because you know what comes before anger? Fear. Fear comes before all negative emotions. Greed, envy, all the 7 deadlies. Fear is in front of it. And it causes us to do things that maybe we wouldn't do as spiritual beings if we understood that it just doesn't matter. You're not taking that gold with you when you go. You can't fill your pockets with cheesecake. I remember a girlfriend of mine was really struggling. She had cancer, and she was going through her second bout of chemo. She had 3 times of cancer, but second bout of chemo. And she didn't want to do chemo. She said, I don't want to do this. I like my cake. They told me I can't eat my cake. I'm thinking, okay, but you get to live, and you said you don't want to die. So I kept my mouth shut. I love this woman immensely. I know for a fact she'll never go through chemo again. So with that being said, I got in my car and my son came in and he said, tell her there's no cake over here. Well, shoot. So if you want to have the cake experience, you better stick around, and you better make that a conscious decision to stick around. And so we go in, and we are in the patterns of sameness. We're in the patterns of right and wrong. There's no right and wrong, because what's right for us is not right for somebody else. And sometimes what we commit to as being what we want to do quits being right for us because we've outgrown it, or because we've changed our mind, or because, there's a million and one reasons. And I've had to stop and let some things go because it wasn't that it wasn't right for me, it's that the timing was not right for me. And if I want to be the best that I can possibly be, I had to get my ego out of the way and quit saying, I can do better, I should do this, I should do that, I'll take care of that. I can't. Honestly, I can't. So I'm not. And everything will take care of itself, because I am with an entire planet of magnificent people who have absolutely the same amount of truth as I do. And how they express it is their choice. However, they don't get to get mad at me if I say my truth and then expect me to be okay with their truth. My point is that we shouldn't be getting mad at each other. We shouldn't be pointing fingers at each other. We should just go, okay, so succeed or fail on your measure, good for you. I'm going to succeed on my measure. That's the only thing that I have a choice in, is to me to succeed or fail. And understanding that I understand that I want to leave this planet with my heart wide open with universal love. I've had that experience. I've had my heart open to universal love. I have been so connected that it blew me away. And I'm studying and training to get back to that emotion. You know, when you let go of the results that you're supposed to have and let spirit guide you, it always ends up much better than anything you could do by fear. Sound familiar? Okay, so going on with this, this kind of steps into it a little deeper. Imagine a person taking a bud, a rosebud, and tearing the petals open, forcing that flower to open. You would destroy the flower if you rip it open, right? It was out of timing for the rose. Might have been in your timing, but you destroyed the flower, so it really wasn't in your timing either. You just wanted what you wanted, and you tore open the rose. And it didn't end up being a beautiful flower anymore. It ended up being a destroyed flower. I talked with a friend of mine early this morning, sharing some stuff back and forth, and she walks with me with the dogs on the phone. It's the only time we can catch each other. And she said, I don't feel like a magnificent human being. I do not feel like I'm special. She goes, what you do is special. And I said, but you can do it too. And she said, no, I can't. And I said, okay, but the example here is, I can't go to work on an oil rig because I do not have that experience. I did not study, train, or try to have that experience because being on an oil rig was not of paramount importance to me. So because this was important to me doesn't mean that you can't do it, and it doesn't mean that you can't do it now. Just because you figure you're chronologically 60 does not mean that you can't do it now. Because I could go to work on an oil rig. They'd let me. I could do the work if I have a desire. There's nothing we can't do. It's our choice not to do it. So if we want to sit in there and destroy our roses, if we want to sit there and stagnate, that's our choice. But then we have no one to blame but ourselves. Somebody else told me the other day, I've been struggling, demons are chasing me. And I'm like, I feel so bad for her. I've never had a demon chase me because that's not ever been in my consciousness. It's not something that I hold energy for. And I don't even think about it, so I'm not creating that experience. And it's bad to see somebody hurting so bad because they're having that experience, and sometimes that experience can be so devastating for them, it causes them to close up like a little wad of paper, and then set on fire. It's hard. This isn't easy. And it's real easy to sit back and do the things that you want to do and have the consciousness that you want to have. It's really hard to push the barrier a little bit further out. And I've said this before. We're here to come into this life with the level of knowledge that we have in all our other lives accumulated and rise above that, to grow spiritually above that. That's what's the important thing. Having a race boat or having a mansion in Colorado or a winery in California, it's important only if that's what you want to be important. But to me, those things pale in comparison. Now, I will tell you that words have effect. Words have power. So whatever is important to you, you can spiritually grow and have the winery in California, the mansion in Colorado, you can have the race boat, you can have it all, as long as you know that that's what you want. If that's what you want to focus on, where your focus goes, your energy flows. What you emanate, you create. What you fear, you will also draw near. And those are quotes from Michael Rhodes and also Gordon Michael Scallion. Boy, me and Michael. You know, maybe I'm in good company. I'm the female version. I'm just kidding. Just kidding. Just a little diversion there, guys. Okay, so everything has its timing, right? We are the timing of our own growth, meaning we choose when we want to grow. We can pick up the books. We can pick up a video. We can create by inner knowing, by having, some people have been struck by lightning and had this magnificent experience of higher consciousness come through with a near-death experience. I don't want to push the envelope like that. I just would rather, you know, study and train and let it come to me and unfold. And what I mean by training is that I sit in meditation. I sit and let the energy go and guide me and connect to me and grow. It doesn't mean that I don't focus on a full center with some amazing practitioners that come in that are absolutely magnificent, bringing out the best of each other. And for the community of Albuquerque, there's 1 million people in Albuquerque. I would like to see at least half of this city and surrounding areas grow in peace, light, love, and prosperity. At least half. And I'd love to see it shift and change. That's why I'm here. That's why Resonant Essentials is here. That's my goal. I'm there to give a place for people to speak their truth from. But it does have to be in alignment with Resonant Essentials, because people can't handle learning from somebody who's learning from fear themselves, because it's really hard to hear them. So when we hold fear, we can't be heard. Yes, Johanna, I agree. We absolutely all should study and learn lifelong, every life. So then he goes on to say, we determine when or if we will grow. The universe prompts all of us, but only a minority is listening. A few people attempt to trigger their timing with drugs. Okay? I'm kind of stopping here, debating on whether or not to continue the paragraph. When people take mind-altering drugs, it can give them very metaphysical experiences. But remember, if you don't have the higher vibration or the desire to grow from that, all you want to do is have the metaphysical experience. That's all you're going to have. I remember the first years ago, my PSAT test, I was in 10th grade, and my girlfriends and I all dropped speed that night, the night before the test. It was Friday night. I know. I'm telling on myself. So we dropped speed. I was in a private school, and so we spent the night in the dorm laughing and talking. And they were all like, let's smoke a joint. And I'm like, no, I don't want to smoke, because that'll be the end of it. No, you got to smoke. I spent the PSAT test like this, asleep, with my pencil in my hand for the entire test. I passed out completely. And I knew I shouldn't have done it, but it lowered my vibration. I had a great time on Friday night, but Saturday morning, I took those PSATs and big fat goose egg, because I didn't even answer the first question before I just crashed. Boy, was that a lesson. It's like, you're not going to get anywhere with drinking and drugs, so why do it? It's not going to help you. Yeah, it's a great time, but I know I can have a great time without them. And that's kind of what he's saying, is like, you'll have the experience, but you have to hold the vibration. You can't just pretend that you're holding the vibration. You actually have to hold the vibration before you go into it. A few people... Oh, I read that part. Oftentimes they are seeking a spiritual truth, yet it is not their timing. So they resort to drugs and it doesn't work. No matter how high they get, they come back to a lower place than from where they started. For us, the time of the timing is created by being aware, by being conscious, not by force. So having that and understanding that, timing is paramount for us, and it's by being aware that it's your time, and then you can experience an amazing spiritual growth, and you won't need drugs to do it. You don't. You just experience it, and you just unfold naturally. And it's one of the best ways to hold that vibration. So if you open your heart and you go from this planet with universal love, you're not going to have to come back and go through this fear-mongering again. You're going to be at a higher vibration. You're going to be experience fourth and fifth dimension stuff, not third dimension in the third chakra fear. We're going to have mastered our emotions out of that third chakra, because that's what that chakra does, is it helps us master our emotions, bring them into balance. So then toward the end of the chapter, he says, I don't teach people how to avoid anything. I teach people how to fully engage life by lifting and following the principles of truth. Illusions are unable to fully support life because they hold no true energy. Illusions are like candles in the dark. They hold the darkness of our fears away for a little while, but eventually they flicker and burn out. When the darkness of our fears is back, we realize that that fear never really went away. So, I will never, ever, ever have to again fear losing a child. I understand what losing a child is on a deeper, more spiritual level. It's very powerful to understand that my son gave me such a beautiful gift, even though he was a pain in the butt. I'll bring him up. She's one of his, well, his bestie, his girl bestie. The thing is that I don't ever have to have that experience again, because I know that what he came for a set period of time. And I don't have to experience that loss to trigger that dark night and walking of the soul, the dark night of the soul, which I think we have a few of those in our life, but there's always that one that handcuffed you, tied you to the horse and drug you face down through the desert. That one, that's the one that I experienced. And it's taken me 3 years to find a deeper understanding of that, one that resonated with me as true. Because we don't get to just have this epiphany because we're metaphysicians. Life kind of throws us some curves, and we have to, either hit, swing, miss. It's either a strike, a foul, a ball, or it's a home run. And sometimes we swing and miss so many times that you can't hardly stand it. But you didn't quit. You're still here having a human experience, but you're still a magnificent human being. You're amazing. You're fabulous. You're not ordinary. None of us are ordinary. We are all so powerful in what we choose to do with our lives. And the little things that we think don't make a difference are like fountains of youth to other people. They're like handing them the keys to the city. Because we don't know, but that one little gesture, that one smile that we give somebody at the store, we don't know that it's not changing somebody's world. There was a TikTok that somebody said that all white people, why do all white women smile? And I laugh, and I'm like, I don't think that's exclusive to white people. I really don't. I think that we don't have as much fear because we didn't have to walk their path. And we enjoy that as a specialness of culture. I don't want to start a race war on here, but I'm going to tell you to keep smiling, and I don't care who you are. Don't fear smiling. Don't fear giving of your heart. Smile till it hurts, because you're going to change one person. You might make one person feel safe. You don't know if they're being stalked through the store by an angry ex, and you're smiling. You give them that moment to know, I'm not alone. Because we don't know the woes and worries that other people have. So smile. Give them your heart. Give them your love. We matter. Everybody on this planet is here for a reason at this perfect time. We are not going into a great awakening. We are already in it. So let's wake up, everybody. Let's get past this concept that we'll do it tomorrow and just start doing it today. Because timing is everything. And your time, my time, is all in perfect timing. My heart to all of yours, and love all of you. Bye now.